Okay. Okay. Our Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas, Shri Gurudev, and we will continue with Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so, Jai Shri Gurudev. Jai Vishakha. Jai Gurudev. So, yesterday we heard the conclusion of this examination of Srila Rupa Goswami, and now Mahaprabhu is concluding and glorifying Rupa Goswami, and also glorifying his brother Sanatana Goswami. So we can pick up there. And now he's speaking directly to Ramananda Rai. Tomar Ch.Ch Vishakha Ch.Ch Tarditi Donya Vaidagya Panditya Tahate Stiti. The Lord told Ramananda, Sanatan's renunciation of material connections is just like yours. Humility, renunciation, and excellent learning exist in him simultaneously. So this is very, very significant. A few points here. Firstly, that Mahaprabhu tells Ramananda that Sanatan, his renunciation is on your level. And it's very interesting, this comparison Mahaprabhu is making, because apparently they live very different lifestyles. Sanatana Goswami, he is, Sanatana Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami also in particular, they are known for their extreme vairagya, their extreme detachment and renunciation from the world. They, in an extreme way, literally giving up everything of the world and living under, like all of the Goswamis, living under a tree in Vrindavan, eating hardly anything, and so on and so forth. So if one thinks ordinarily of what renunciation is, one will think of their example. But Ramananda Rai, on the other hand, although apparently he lives, you could say, in the lap of luxury, he was living like a king in his post in South India for the Arisan government, and he has a wealthy family, he has a high status in society. He's not removed from society like Sanatan and others, but he's working with society. And then there's also that famous incident when there's this incident when this Pradyumna Mishra comes to hear from him on the order of Mahaprabhu, and he's has second thoughts because he sees that Ramananda is working with some dancing girls, these Devidasis, and touching them in intimate ways. So, he has apparently closeness with these young ladies, and living this wealthy lifestyle. So apparently one would not say that he is such a great renunciant, Ramananda Rai, he's so detached from the world. One would not think in the same way that Punjarik Vidyanidhi, Gadadhar Pandit, when he went to see him, then he's doubtful, he has some doubts. He's living this wealthy lifestyle, dressed in this very, fancy way. But what kind of Vaishnava is this? So in the same way, one would not immediately think of Ramananda as an example of renunciation. So it's very interesting that Mahaprabhu makes this expression, pointing out that although Ramananda is living within, the world and living with wealth and mixing with various persons, he is completely detached. And this is also, we can add, the ideal that, for modern life, for persons who are trying to live and serve and preach and in the modern world. This is the example that, is helpful for us. The example of Rup Sanatan is not very helpful for us, other than as an example. But in terms of practical application, that will not be appropriate. That would be foolish. So we hear this phrase, yukta vairagya, properly adjusted detachment, which was pronounced by Rup and Sanatan in their writings as appropriate, as bona fide, as acceptable, although they themselves did not practice it. But then Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he came along and he made that a primary, focal point of the preaching style of the Gaudiya Math. Not just preaching, but in terms of their personal practice and preaching. That not that anything is rejected of the world, but that everything will be utilized. Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjata nirbandha krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchate. This is a verse of Rupa Goswami. And there's this, and then another verse which is describing false renunciation. And these two verses, Srila Saraswati Thakur published in every single edition of the Gaudiya, I think it was, which was a weekly or monthly publication. But literally on every single cover of this magazine, he printed these two verses. So it was that principle. It was that, central. It was so central to his preaching style and, how he wanted his members and followers to apply Krishna consciousness. So this is a, significant point here. Mahaprabhu was making this comparison, which normally one would not think to make. And then also this is very, very beautiful expression of praise and also instructional. Humility, still Mahaprabhu is speaking still to Ramananda, humility, renunciation, and excellent learning exist. He's speaking to Ramananda about Sanatana. He says, humility, renunciation, and excellent learning exist in him simultaneously. So, this is wonderful, He has these qualities of great renunciation and great learning, but at the same time, he's humble. He has humility. This is what makes it beautiful. If one has these qualities, but they have pride, then it is like Gurudev gave the example of one drop of urine in a bucket of milk. You've just milked your cow, you've got this big, beautiful bucket of milk, and then one drop of the urine from the cow, and the whole pot is spoiled. So in the same way, one may develop, as a result of their devotion and service, one may develop so many great qualities. But if they have even a speck of pride about that, then it all becomes ugly. But to live in the consciousness that whatever I have, it is but a gracious gift from above. And it may be withdrawn at any moment also. So as they say, by the grace of God you go. Because, this is the hardest, this is the final thing, of these three things, kana, kamini, pratishta, wealth and sense pleasure. One can give those up, one can give up the pleasure of this world, one may give up the wealth of this world, but then to give up one's pratishta, to give up one's pride, that is very difficult. And even more so because if you can give those things up, that's, then you may be celebrated because you've been able to do that. Not many can do that. And so it is, very easy for that to creep in one's heart if it was not there before. This is the most insidious of the three, this pride. But if one has those qualities and has some real feeling of humility alongside them, then they become beautiful, then they are properly situated. And I think it's in Chaitanya Bhagavat where this pastime with Keshav Kashmiri, Mahaprabhu defeats him, of course, and then afterwards Mahaprabhu gives him some instruction. And one thing he tells him, because the whole point of that Leela was not for Mahaprabhu to demonstrate his superiority or just like to humiliate someone, but because it was an expression of mercy, wanting to adjust Keshav Kashmiri. So, but one very beautiful instruction, it's recorded in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu tells him that a tree with many fruits hangs low. So in the same way, a Vaishnav who has, or a person who has many great qualities, it will feel some natural humility. If one has consciousness really about how these gifts have come, and feeling, I'm not really worthy, but this is coming from above, then one will feel some humility. Okay. So Mahaprabhu is praising both Rupa and Sanatan. Hey dui bhaiye ami patailu vrindavane Shakti diya bhakti shastra korite pravartane. I empowered both of these brothers to go to Vrindavan to expand the literature of bhakti. Raiko Ishwar tumi Ch.Ch korite Kashte putali tumi parna chaite. Ramananda Rai replied to Mahaprabhu, "My Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you like, you can cause even a wooden doll to dance." So you gave your grace. I experienced that myself, Ramananda, as he pointed out a little earlier. You made me dance, and now you're also making them dance. Mormuke jesa braskodila prachadane Serasa dekiye talikane. I see that the truths regarding transcendental mellows that you expanded through my mouth are all explained in the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Bhakte kripa hetu prakashite chaha vrajaras chade karao se koribe jagato marvash. Because of your causeless mercy toward your devotees, you want to describe the transcendental pastimes in Vrindavan. Anyone empowered to do this can bring the entire world under your influence. Because of your causeless mercy toward your devotees, you want to describe the transcendental pastimes in Vrindavan. Anyone empowered to do this can bring the entire world under your influence. And, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada is presenting this, and really he is an example of that. He really brought, he brought this to the whole world, and the whole world, throughout the whole world, every town and village, they came to appreciate this, because he was empowered, because Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he was empowered. So he demonstrated that. Tobe Mahaprabhu koila rupe alingan, tade kodaila sabar charana vandan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Rupa, and asked him to offer prayers at the lotus feet of all the devotees present. So again we see this, again and again we see in this chapter this point being made, that there is an interconnectedness here, and it is not enough to simply have the mercy of the Lord, but one must also have the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So I'm blessing you, but I also want you to have the blessings of my devotees. So he's telling them to give their mercy to him, and he's telling him to give his, to pray to them for their grace. And in this way he's making Rupa Goswami's position very strong in devotion and in the society. Advaita Nityanandadi Sabhaktagan Ripa Kodi Rupe Sobe Koilaya Lingan. Advaita Acharya Nityananda Prabhu and all the other devotees showed their causeless mercy to Rupa Goswami by embracing him in return. Prabhu Kripa Rupeya Ruper Sadgun Deki Chamatkar Hoilo Sabakar Man. Seeing Mahaprabhu's special mercy toward Srila Rupa Goswami and seeing his personal qualities, all the devotees were struck with wonder. Tobe Mahaprabhu sa bhakta loya gela Haridas Thakur Rupe Alingan Koila. Then, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left with all of his devotees, Haridas Thakur also embraced Srila Rupa Goswami. So you see, as we pointed out earlier, nobody's envious to see this special mercy on Rupa Goswami. Everyone is very happy to see that. Haridas kohe tomar bhagya nahi sima jaisa barni lai har ke jane mahima. Haridas Thakur told him, there is no limit to your good fortune. No one can understand the glories of what you have described. And this is a very important point, as we discussed before. The spirit of non-enviousness means appreciation, that if we see someone else has some grace of the Lord, we will celebrate that. We will not try to cut them down or obscure their qualities in any way, but we will encourage and we will celebrate, and our prayer will be that everyone will be more than us, actually. Our society will flourish if we can live in that kind of spirit. Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he had some comment that when somebody new comes to Vrindavan, then Radharani goes running to Krishna and tells him, "Oh Krishna, just look at this wonderful devotee. They are much better than I am. You please accept them." That is her spirit. And this is really the fundamental quality of a Vaishnava, the mood of non-enviousness. This is the prerequisite. This is the foundational quality. I mean, really, we can say that one is as substantial to the degree that their appreciation of others is developed. That is one definition of Vaishnavata that is given, I believe, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that one who can recognize another Vaishnava, they are a Vaishnava. To the degree that we can appreciate other Vaishnavas to that much, we have Vaishnavata ourselves. And this is, the very beginning of Bhagavatam, Nirmat Saranam Satam. The spirit of to be free from, and who can appreciate this, who can really enter into this wonderful culture of devotion to the Supreme Lord? in his most, beautiful and sweetest aspect, only one who is free from this disease, this fundamental disease of envy. So this is something, we all have to meditate upon. It's not about knowing so much or being able to do so much, but how much we have that quality of appreciation within our hearts. That is true Vaishnavata. So it's very beautiful to hear these living examples here in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we can examine our own hearts and see, we need still some purification is required. Sinful activity is not such a big deal. Sin is not a setback, really. But to have envy for a Vaishnava, to have or to just have a lack of appreciation, that will really set us back. So, if somebody can't follow the regulative principles, they can't do this or that, okay, that's not good, and that's putting some check on their progress. But in the big scheme of things, it's not a big deal, and very easily Krishna can remove those impurities at his sweet will. But if one has some bad feeling for Vaishnava, then that is quite a serious thing. Then Krishna will not be pleased to purify that devotee. So it is very important for us to look at that. Okay, we'll continue. Shri Rupa kohe nami kichui na jani, Jai Mahaprabhu kaha se kahivani. Sri Rupa Goswami said, I do not know anything. The only transcendental words I can utter are those which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes me speak. So again, this is what Ramananda himself is saying, And I'm like a puppet, You're glorifying me for these, this presentation I've made, but it is all done by you, actually. I am just your puppet, your instrument, your doll. And this is actually, for someone who's coming to present spiritual literature, this is the primary need, that one will be able to act as a channel. There is one recording, someone asking Srila Sridhar Maharaj, what if we want to write some spiritual literature, what is the main quality? And he says, to be a transparent, I can't remember the exact words, but along those lines, a transparent via media, to be able to receive higher transmission. That is the main qualification. So Srila Rupa Goswami, he has that, free from his own ego, and so he can receive this, this flow, this empowerment from Mahaprabhu. As we hear of Srila, since we're speaking of Srila Swami Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, the same, Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, he emptied himself of his own ego, of any, personal desire that he had. He fully emptied himself of that and just fixed on what was the will of his Guru. And then he attracted that empowerment from Nityananda Prabhu. And now we have a verse here which is from Bhakti, it's Rupa Goswami's verse, which is also recorded in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Hridiyasya preranaya pravartito ham varaka rupopi tasya hare parakamalam vande chaitanya devasya. Although I am the lowest of men and have no knowledge, the Lord has mercifully bestowed upon me the inspiration to write transcendental literature about devotion. Therefore I offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has given me the chance to to write these books. Hemata duijan Krishna kata range suke ka goai rupa haridasa sange. In this way, Srila Rupa Goswami passed his time in close association with Haridas Thakur by discussing the pastimes of Lord Krishna in great happiness. So they're staying together in this residence, Haridas and Rupa Goswami, and how does that verse go? The Chatur Shloki, Madgata, how does it go? Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha, describing Krishna, describing Bhagavad Gita. His devotees, they relish speaking about him. Those who are fully given to me, those who are fully surrendered to me, they get this very special, very deep pleasure from simply discussing my glories. Such a simple activity, simply discussing, but they get such deep satisfaction and pleasure out of that. So Rupa and Haridas, they are extremely happy to discuss the pastimes of the Lord together. Chadimas dohisa prabhur bhaktagam Gosai vidai dila gore kodila gaman. All the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus spent 4 months with him. Then the Lord bade them farewell, and they returned to Bengal. Shri Rupa Prabhupade Nila Chale Rahila Dol Yacha Prabhu Sange Anande Dekila. Srila Rupa Goswami, however, stayed at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when the Dol Yatra festival took place, he saw it in great happiness with the Lord. Dol Anantare Prabhu Rupe Vidai Dila Anek Prasad Kori Shakti Sanchadila. After the Dol Yatra festival ended, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to Rupa Goswami also. The Lord empowered him and bestowed upon him all kinds of mercy. Vrindavane jaha tumi rohi ho vrindavane ekabar iha patai ho sanatane. Now go to Vrindavan and stay there, the Lord said. You may send here your elder brother, Sanatan. Brajajai rasa shastra koriho nirupan lupta tirtha sabtaha koriho pracharan. When you go to Vrindavan, stay there, preach transcendental literature, and excavate the lost holy places. Krishna seva rasa bhakti koriho prachar amiho dekite taha jaimue kabar. Establish the service of Lord Krishna and preach the mellows of Lord Krishna's devotion. I shall also go to Vrindavan once more. Eta boli Prabhu tade koilaya lingan Rupa Gosai shire dore Prabhu charan. Having thus spoken, Mahaprabhu embraced Rupa Goswami, who then placed the lotus feet of the Lord upon his head. Prabhu Bhakti, and this is always a sign of some intimacy and very deep love and appreciation that the Lord will do that, because he doesn't like everyone touching his feet, but when it's mentioned that he places his feet on someone's head, that's an expression of great love and mercy and intimacy. Prabhu Bhaktagan Pashe Vidai Loila Punarapi Gorapate Vrindavane Aila. Like Srila Gurudev also, we saw, he didn't like everybody touching his feet all the time, but But someone who he trusted, who he loved, he would allow, and allowing his servants to put his socks on his feet and things like that. But general devotees, he was not comfortable with that. So it's some intimacy there. Srila Rupa Goswami took leave of all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and returned to Vrindavan by the path through Bengal. Eto kohila punaruper milan, iha jai shune paye Chaitanya charan. Thus I have described the second meeting of Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone who hears of this incident will certainly attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Rupa Raghunath Bhaje Jarhash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Jai Gadadhar Prabhu ki Jai. Wow, looking so bright. Well, we just finished. So, such a beautiful chapter and so many wonderful things to think about. Mahaprabhu's, and it's an important chapter, Many times we heard Srila Gurudev mentioning this. It's important for us because, we are Rupa Nugas, we are not Chaitanya Nugas, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj just pointed out. We are the followers of Sri Rupa. So this is, of course, very significant for us. It's here that Mahaprabhu is establishing him as our leader. And now this next chapter is the chastisement of Ch.Ch. Haridas. Which is kind of heavy chapter. So we had some sweet, and now we're having something salty. Any comments or questions from anyone? Gadadhar, any words of wisdom? How are you feeling?
Not today.
No, I said, how are you feeling?
No, I'm right.
You're more than all right, I think. You're taking steps forward on your journey. And we know that Srila Gurudev had high hopes for you, and so we feel privileged to see that coming to pass. And as Gurudev would say, your future is very bright. Of course, for everyone it's very bright, but there's some special expectation. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Will you sing Hari Haraya Nama Krishna? No? Okay, Mohini Didi, you want to sing? Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana Gopinata Madana Mohana Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Radha Srimad Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatana Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana Jaha Hoite Vignana Sabista Purana Jai Gosai Jai Muvita Dadasa Sabada pada denu ora pancharasa Tadera charana sevi bhakta sanevasa Janame moe abhilasha He Jai Gosai Jave Braja Koilo Vasa Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasha Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjaya Mana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kodiyasa Harinam Sankirtana Kore Narottama Dasa Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kodiyasa Harinam Sankirtana Kore Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Jai Ji Jai Sakrika Shishi Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhari Ji Ki Jai Jai Vishnu Pad Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Nirmala Charja Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat ki jai, Vishwavyapi Tadiya Shaka Mat ki jai, all the assembled devotees ki jai, all the world devotees ki jai, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Joy.
So what's your plan for today, Gadadhar?
Well, I have to go to the embassy to renew my passport.
Which passport?
Swedish passport. Because I have a British passport. I didn't apply for it in the first place.
Are you gonna go like that to the embassy?
I'm not that sure.
Who are you going with?
My dad.
Okay.
We have to go at 9 o'clock.
Okay.